Hey people, it is Friday, April the 4th. The time is 4:33 in the afternoon. It's currently about 9 degrees Celsius and the temperature is dropping. It was 13 just a bit earlier in the day today, and it feels chillier than 9 thanks to this wind chill. Another yo-yo sort of temperature effect going on this week. We had 21 degree weather yesterday here in the city. Felt like summer. And now we're getting back down to reality. I'm currently on Dundas Street. We're at the corner of Jarvis. And I'm heading east. Or I should say I'm heading west. And I'm going to be turning right here on Mutual Street because I'm going to take a walk around some of the Toronto Metropolitan University campus. I had to get out and run an errand today, but I thought since I was out, maybe I'd incorporate a video into the walk. I think my final destination will be the Dollarama at Yonge and Dundas, which is basically within the Toronto Metropolitan University campus area. The campus does extend as far as Yonge Street to the west, even a bit further if you include a couple of buildings. And it extends from Dundas Street, where we just were, in the south, to Gerrard Street in the north. I've done a few other walks over the years of the campus, including when it was still called Ryerson University. The name was changed a couple of years back. Egerton Ryerson fell out of favor in the current climate, so he had to go. His statue was torn down, and I believe it was thrown in Lake Ontario. He had a big statue in the campus at one time. So they came up with the memorable name of Toronto Metropolitan University to replace it. And it took a while, but all the signs and banners now do say TMU, or Toronto Metropolitan University. They're mainly residence buildings along Mutual Street, with a couple of academic buildings, such as you see right here. And there's Gould, that's one of the main streets of the campus. Church Street is the other main street I would say, running through the heart of the campus. So I think I'll just do some zigging and zagging as I make my way to Yonge and Dundas. Alright, so this just continues up to Gerrard. Let's walk through one of these courtyards. I imagine yesterday was a lot more lively on campus with all the nice weather. I think today people are retreating indoors a lot more again. And I think we are past the busiest time of day also to be walking around. think a lunch hour walk would probably be the best time to do a campus walk like this. As this reopened, this walkway was closed for quite a while. Looks like it's finally been reopened. Most of the buildings on campus are of the more modern variety, not much in the way of old historic buildings. At TMU, you have to go to U of T for that sort of thing. There are a few, I guess, but literally maybe one or two or three at the most. And some of the ones that are old weren't originally part of the campus. They just were incorporated into the campus at a later time. All right, we're at Gerrard Street. So this is the northern boundary. That must have just reopened because it was blocked off as of just a few days ago. Crossing Church. We'll go south down Church. All the red and gray signage will let you know if buildings are part of the university or not, and almost all of them are along this stretch. This one might not be that old, but at least it has some ivy that will come in and look quite nice and give it that collegiate look a bit later. This university really only has been around since the 1960s, and it wasn't even fully accredited as a university until the 1990s, I believe. Before that, it was known as a Polytechnic Institute, Ryerson Polytechnic Institute. There's where we just were. We do have quite a collection of squirrels here, though, and some pigeons. Unfortunately, I can't really go into any of these academic buildings because you need a student card to gain access. Right now, it continues on back down to Dundas along Church. That's the tallest academic building on the campus. It also has some residences inside too. But let's go over to Gould Street. Here's some of the older buildings. Let's look at the history of this one. So this wasn't always part of the university, obviously. This dates from 1848. Oakham House. It's over 100 years before the university was even a thing. And there's the clock tower. A bit on the small side as far as clock towers go, but it does the job. So this mixture of the old and the new, which is by far what you mostly see around here. I think this block here was one of the first buildings to be constructed. And I think that's where the statue of Egerton Ryerson used to be, right over there. There's a plaque over there. And there's a sign, I think, explaining why it's gone now. I don't know if it says anything about it being torn down and thrown in Lake Ontario, though. There's the Image Arts building. There are some programs here at TMU that are quite well regarded. Things like fashion design and I think interior design and things like that. Journalism, I think, also. All these buildings weren't part of the campus originally, but they've been sort of adopted and turned into academic buildings of some sort or another. This is Bond Street. Upwards of 45,000 students who attend TMU. So it's a very sizable student population, that's for sure. And the campus is literally in the heart of downtown. It's well connected to transit. You have streetcar lines and a subway line that will bring you right to the doorstep of the campus. So we're kind of on the southern edges of the campus now. That's Yonge Dundas Square right there. And my destination is just right up ahead, but there's still a bit more of the school I'd like to walk around, so we're going to head north here up Victoria Street. This will take us back to Gould. This is the hulking building that houses the Tenor, which is a commercial and retail complex. It also has movie theaters. There's a multi-screen Cineplex, and I think some of the auditoriums of the Cineplex are sometimes used as lecture halls for the university when they're not in use at certain times. There's a massive parking structure also incorporated into this building. It looks terrible from this side though, admittedly. Looks like a prison or something. The other side facing Yonge and Dundas is the side that's all covered with the large billboards and video screens. And here's the Devonian Pond. It was an ice skating rink throughout the winter. And eventually they'll fill it up with some water, make it look pretty. There's the Image Arts building again with the iconic Canadians, many of whom you probably recognize. This lights up at night with some really colorful LED lighting. It looks really cool. It's sort of like the centerpiece of the campus, I would say, along with the pond here. And this area is all pedestrianized. It's looking east on Gould towards Church. And west towards Yonge Street. And straight down Victoria. All right, we'll walk through the quad, which is where that oldest sort of original academic complex was constructed. Kerr Hall. Several residences in addition to the academic buildings.
Still going? Oh my. All right, what are the odds?
Got some coffee shops. Let me clear my throat there. So this is probably the most picturesque, sort of collegiate looking part of the campus here. This is the part they put on brochures. Because admittedly lots of the campus just blends in with the downtown street grid, and you Sometimes can't even tell if you're walking through the campus or not, especially when those older pre-university buildings are incorporated into the campus. Here's the facade of a very old building. It's now the entrance to the Recreation and Athletics Center. If I can get my mouth to properly pronounce words. Definitely the most unique part of the campus. It was once the Toronto Normal and Model School, dating from 1851. And that closed down in 1962, which is right around the time when they were establishing this university. I guess they thought, hey, let's preserve this old building, or at least the facade of it anyway. There's another way to get onto Gould Street. Have the clock tower up there from the other side. Got some cool views of the surrounding cityscape, the aura, and you can see those cranes are for Concord Sky, which is starting to become visible above the treetops. That will tower 85 stories, surpassing the aura that you see there. So we'll come back in a year or two and that view will be completely transformed. And these all be covered in ivy as the weather warms up. And there you can see some of the CN Tower. Dog is chasing squirrels. Hopefully he never catches one. That would be kind of a gruesome thing to have to deal with. I shouldn't let the dog run around like that. It's not really a dog park. All right, here's Gerrard Street. So this is the northern boundary of the campus.
I just don't like it.
And lots of apartment buildings on the other side of Gerrard are more or less student residences, are largely populated by students. There's Jorgensen Hall. This is one of the taller buildings on campus. Faculty of Arts. Right, now here's another pedestrian walkway. This is basically Victoria Street. It just has a different name along this stretch. I think it's Nelson Mandela Way. There's a fountain waiting for them to turn on the water. Sort of a brutalist taking a picture of the campus.
Can I be a part of the picture?
Do you want to be part of the picture?
Sitting back.
There you go. Say hi. Hi. Thanks. Yeah, that guy wasn't weird or anything. Oh no. There's the library. Pretty large library, I would say. And back to the heart of the campus here at Gould and Victoria. All right, now we'll head over to Yonge Street for the last leg of the walk. This is probably the most architecturally interesting building on campus. It was built about 10 years ago. It's the Student Learning Center. Got lots of restaurants here. There's a little food market. And there's some big steps over here that people tend to hang out on. Sort of like a gathering spot. Not sure where that music is coming from. Oh, it's coming from right here. Okay. So now this is basically just downtown Yonge, but the campus does extend right here to the heart of downtown Yonge. There's another look up the Learning Center. And there's always lots of music blasting here, so I'm going to make my way through here as quickly as I can to our final destination at Yonge and Dundas, where I'll check out the umbrella selection at Dollarama. Yes, I'm buying another cheap-ass Dollarama umbrella. I'll eventually get myself a proper one. These are mostly students that frequent this part of the street at this time of day.
but it's I don't know, like
All right, so I'm heading inside here. I'm going to start to wrap up the walk. This was sort of a off-the-cuff walk. Wasn't really planned until literally about 2 minutes before I pressed record, so you might have noticed it seemed a bit make it up as I go along, but oftentimes those sorts of videos can be pretty good or sometimes not so good, but I guess we'll see how this one turns out. So anyway, leave a comment down below, let me know your thoughts, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And also be sure to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss any of my videos. If you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. Or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram also under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members, and be sure to keep checking back. Because, as always, I will continue. Now let's head into Dollarama.